enjoyed this. Something that we have not really learned to take into consideration in this country is something we call impact analysis. If you make a pronouncement or you make, I think what's the general word that government uses now, they will just push money into something. And I don't know, it came up during the COVID era. There's one part.
Palliatives?
No, palliative. Intervention.
Okay, intervention.
Yeah, and they say, this is this intervention they are doing. Now, it's good on the surface, but what is the impact of that intervention? How far has that...
So there's no follow-up policy to check how it is working?
Yeah, it is, but we need to go beyond the follow-up. How effective, I think that's the word, how effective has it been? You are making a road that will take, that is probably about 100 people are struggling to pass the road. Then you say you are trying to widen the road. You should be able to go back and say that, is that road, how many more people has the intervention
impacted?
Yes, how has it impacted on the life of the
All right, let's take a short break. We'll be back to talk more. Please don't go anywhere.
Unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your through unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder bus stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
Oh boy, winning you was so easy.
I just couldn't stand those your powerful shots. That's what happened.
Really? Let's go to my place for dinner.
This fufu is so nice.
It's through unripe plantain flour.
True unripe plantain flour is delicious.
Yes, true unripe plantain flour is what I serve my husband for swallows. It's easy to prepare, fortified with vitamin A, low in sugar and cholesterol, rich in fiber that helps the heart, builds and strengthens the bone, and his energy level is boosted.
Through unripe plantain flour, no additives, 100% natural, a product of Pali Agro Products Nigeria. Through unripe plantain flour, available in all leading stores nationwide.
You go enter Welcome back. This is still Business Breakfast, and I still have here Akin Adeoye, a business analyst. Now, let's look at your assessment of the present state of cross-border trade in West Africa, especially as it has to do with access to market for small-scale holders.
Well, I see myself more as a business development specialist. And looking at considering the impact of cross-border trade on our businesses, I think it has not been a good story all along. Closing and opening of the border appears to be something that most often is not well thought of.
The one that happened in 2019, August 2019, would you, if you were to assess it, would you say it was really helpful in boosting the economy?
No, it was ill-advised.
How do you mean?
Largely, I always look at the effect on local businesses and look at the effect on the local consumers. Because at the end of the day, they are the receiving end. The border was closed. Prices of commodity just went up. Is it rice? Is it groundnut oil? Is it just name it?
But we saw some farmers saying that it boosted their production because we saw more people patronizing locally made rice, especially.
But was it sustainable? When you want to develop a business, you don't look at the tomorrow results alone. You want to see the effect, the tomorrow after the tomorrow after the tomorrow. And that will make if they are able to grow the local food, maybe 30%, then it should go to 35, 40, 50. Then we know that we have been able to solve that problem.
So it should have been a gradual process.
I think before you do it, you put some things in place to help the local farmer. What happened? The border was closed. This commodity became scarce, so the price jumped up.
And even the local one was expensive.
Oh yes, it is very, very expensive. And apart from the fact that people are complaining that it's not probably the taste or something that they want, which to some extent you need to take into consideration, because if they are not satisfied, people will move. People have actually moved from eating rice now to eating some of this artificially made food, Indomie, spaghetti, whatever it is. Which
we mentioned brands.
Which we don't even produce. So the effect is that if you want to close the border for a particular thing, it may not, complete closure of the border is not helpful, because it's it affects both sides. People from the other countries come here to buy, is it our soap, plastic products, and so on. They use for making buckets. If you see these trucks going back, they don't go empty. You see them loaded. And plastic shoes and so on. Now you close the border, they cannot come to buy from us. We cannot go to buy from them. So it is even hurting us more.
So you say it's counterproductive?
Oh yes, completely.
Now let's look at this issue of the AfCFTA. Now the general optimism around the promise of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, like other free trade agreements, will be inevitable, create winners and losers. But some economy experts have expressed their doubts over the effectiveness of the trade agreement. Now I'd like to know, how much impact would it have, especially as the government of the day, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, has signed to the AfCFTA?
Yeah, but before signing it, I think, again, we need to have studied what effect we think it will have on us. Most of the countries around us depend on largely on the French economy. And their currency is, to a large extent, being supported by France. Here we are in the middle. Nigeria is very big, a big brother. What do we gain from it? That is something that we really need to consider seriously.
But one would expect that before it was signed on by President Muhammadu Buhari, there were consultations done with economic experts.
Yeah, but I think...
Who would have considered all these factors you mentioned?
In our country presently, there is a lot of weight being given to political consideration far more than the economic benefit. There's something in economics that we call the social cost benefit analysis. If you do that, what is the economic rate of return? What's the impact on the economic development? But it is more from the political, or as a big brother, this is what we are doing, and we are doing it to help them, which to a large extent may help them, but has it really helped us? And is this what we really need? Not at a stage where our currency is really suffering from this era of instability. Where, I mean, look at the naira to the CFA. That was the one that the CFA appears to have gained and probably running at par with us. Look at the naira with the CD in Ghana. So where do we stand? How has it really helped? And if you have a good knowledge of trend analysis, this is what should have been done to predict that if we do it this way, there is some sensitivity that you should do. If we do it this way, what will be the impact? If it is this way, what will be the impact? I'm not too happy that they might have been done, but they were not taken into proper consideration before the signing of the agreement.
So you're saying it's not beneficial in any way?
To a large extent, I cannot see how it has benefited us. Apart from just shooting us up as a big political brother.
Now, looking at the IMF projected that Nigeria's economy will contract by minus 3.4% by the end of 2020, and the country's economy is projected to recover to 2.4% by 2021. How best can MSMEs in Nigeria latch on this and take advantage of it?
I must admit that I don't know fully what the IMF has taken into consideration before coming to this. But the MSMEs generally need to look at the areas of popular demand of which products are moving and see how best they can.
But we still run a largely import-based country.
There's very little we can do to fully depend on locally sourced materials. Even say a Greek, on the surface you want to buy a product that is made locally. The inputs for the agri sector, they are sourced from overseas. I mentioned fertilizer. Even the diesel that you need to run your generator on the farm is not stable. The cost is going up. When you even think of inputs, seedlings and so on, are we able to produce enough seedlings to do? We mentioned chicken the other time. We thought of maize. We don't even have enough maize to keep it going. The cassava, as soon as you want now to use cassava for some industrial product, the people who depend on it on food will come. Coconuts that we need to have been able to produce so well. Coconut industry shut down because there was not enough coconuts that will go into it. What are we doing with rubber? Most of the tire producing companies, not most, all of them, they have departed to go out. So it's not just a question of saying, oh, this material is grown locally. What do you need? What are the inputs that you need to grow it locally in sufficient quantity that will now be able to feed the... I mean, the maize, we eat a lot of corn during the season. But at that time, we are competing with what should have been used to feed the chicken. So before going into such policies, you need to increase substantially the ability to produce such things in very large quantities. And find ways of doing them, of growing, let's say, maize all the year round. And we did some very good research in palm kernel. Unfortunately, the benefit of the research is being enjoyed by Malaysia.
Let's look at one of the ways that these small-scale businesses can sell their products and have access to markets, especially when you talk about trade fairs and exhibitions. What do you think the federal government can do, especially for the business membership organizations who organize these trade fairs? Can there be policies that will make sure and ensure that they bring on only locally made goods, so as to improve the purchase or the patronizing of these goods?
No. You have touched on so many fields of interest to me, and I think I would struggle to take them one by one.
We have 5 minutes though. No, you can.
The major problem, I see that the way trade fairs are organized, they are not done in a way to get good results. The trade fairs are expected to showcase research findings, ITA, FIRO, and all those things. Whatever they have done, they bring it to the trade fair. So people on the other side, they now see, this is a new way of touching on that one. And they will now know that there is a better way of growing cassava, another way of growing yam. So they will take this back. Now, you mentioned the BMOs, and that's the Business Membership Organization. They are the main, they should be the main organizers of trade fairs. And there's nothing we need to do to make it a national affair. If you make it a regional, to a large extent, it will be very good. Another thing that people do during trade fairs, people now bring their products to sell. The rare people, they will bring it to sell. The chin-chin making people will bring it, put in a lot of packaging and so on. With a view,
but will the foreign goods still find their ways into the trade fairs?
They can even find their way. Well, are the people able to purchase these foreign goods? And if they bring in the foreign goods, the major problem our SMEs have is the inability to be competitive. If they are competitive, you don't even need to make too much noise about foreign or local. People will just go for the most economical to them.
So let's wrap this up quickly. What's the way forward? You talked about our MSMEs being competitive enough. What are the things they can do to achieve this?
They are not competitive. To be competitive, we need